Okay, we're back again, folks. And the basing that we did this morning, we did that off camera. These guys dried up, and I was able to put the goop on them. And the goop was dried in record time. It dried maybe in like 3 hours or something like that. And it's going to continue to dry, but it's definitely workable. So, it's just 2 stands of Turkish light horse, and we're going to paint them up now, and they can join the rest of the army. So that way I will have gotten them done today, and we'll do something different. We'll work on the 8 bow stand tomorrow. I doubt I'm going to want to use any of these brushes. We're going to use one that's a little bit more worn for running across the top of this material that's kind of rough. This one should work. This one should work fine. We don't want to dilute this at all because it gets even watery. It could reactivate this material. It is a water-based material. And reactivate means I just have to do it over again, and that's kind of a waste of time. So we're just using brown violet, which again is kind of like an olive drab, like a World War II olive drab, maybe the color of a B-17 would be in. Kind of a fugly color. But this is one of the suggestions for desert type color mixes that was on the Flames of War website. And I like how it looks at it as an end result. So that's why we're going with this. So I suspect I'm probably going to be able to be on here about an hour and a half. That's at least the plan, unless I fall asleep before then, and I don't think that's the case today. I think we got enough sleep last night. I switch to something a little smaller. Maybe we'll use one of these after all. Aha. See if I can read this without putting on my glasses. Tassos, welcome. Been watching your videos and notice you've been pronouncing the Saloy wrong. Okay, so how's the correct way of pronouncing it? And remember, it's got to be reasonable, because somebody that was from Greece actually told me a way to pronounce it, and I'm like, that's all well and good, but nobody would understand what I'm saying. And then we'll talk a little bit about pronunciation, because it sounds like you probably speak Greek and your head's going to spin around by this audiobook I've been listening to. It has been extremely painful. I think this guy had really went out of his way to pronounce things in a way I had never even heard of before. I think somebody told me Saloy is pronounced something like Sealy or something. I can't do that. Nobody would know what I was talking about, you know? I think they should have just been called skirmishers. It covers for everything. The problem with Greek is the alphabet. I mean, I like how the Greek letters look, but man, it's the 21st century. Let's all use the same alphabet. Let's see what we got. I'm from Greece, and I thought a way to help everyone pronounce it. It would be easier to get all the Greeks to pronounce it Saloy, and then it's over with. But while you come up with that pronunciation, I'm reading this book on the successors of Alexander, and it's a pretty good book. It's not all encompassing, but it's a pretty good book. I got books that are a little bit more detailed on there. But this guy that's reading it, okay, to say the letter P and S together like, so say the letter P and S together like Pepsi, Pepsi. Keep the PS sound and add the ili. Sealy. So it is Sealy. I should do that in videos, right? And nobody will know what I'm talking about. All right, well, next time I'm playing DBA, I will mess up with, so Sealy's okay? Sealy. Why is there an O in there? If they would have just deleted the O, that would have been fine. Sealy. They don't say that in any of the video games. If they say things in video games, then I'll pick them up. Like, I can say hoplite and things like that, you know? Silliness. Like Pepsi. Put a bit more P in the beginning. Pepsi. All right. I don't know if that... Maybe I should see if there's one of those pronunciation things on there, online. But I want to say things correctly. You know, I speak 2 languages. Greek just doesn't happen to be one of them, and I do go crazy when people mispronounce things. So this guy is you know, the guy who wrote the book is not the person who does the what do you call it, the narration. And I don't know if I could even get this. I don't even know if I could get it correctly, or I could incorrectly how he says it. But he says, instead of Agathocles, he said, I don't know what he said. I'd have to write down, I'd have to phonetically write down the mispronunciation, but it's painful. He calls them Lysimachus, instead of Lysimachus. I don't know. In Greek, it's probably neither of those two either. So, I don't know. It's painful to listen to. Painful to listen to. He was talking about Sealy, Syria, right? It's a area. It's spelled Coele, Sealy, and he pronounces it cola. So I'd never heard anybody pronounce it like that. I actually never even heard of Saloy as anything prior to playing DBA. It is not something that's in common usage for skirmishers. It'd be a lot easier to just call them skirmishers. Whenever I come up with a set of rules, whenever that may be, it might be 2 decades from now, there will not be any Saloy in the rules. This Saloy are just, they're fine if you're playing Greek armies, but it's silly to call something, Chinese Sealy. Oplitis. Okay. But it's ridiculous to call something Chinese Sealy. And I've heard people call them Pisoli. I've heard all kinds of stuff. I got to write this guy's down his pronunciation when he's going through his book, though. He comes up with really creative ways to pronounce these Greek folks in ways they've never been pronounced before. Lysimachus. What the hell? Nobody knows who you're talking about. And I actually like all of those names in the traditional spelling for Greek. Well, not in Greek, because Greek would use Greek letters, but, I like Cassandros as opposed to Cassander better. I just do. Looks better. Ptolemaeus. I don't know what it is. It wasn't a Goth. It's not Gothicles, obviously. It was like, is there any? I've never heard that pronounced any other way other than a Gothicles, ever. So. Wait, try Pisili. How's Pisili sound? It's the letter thing, If it was the same letters, like I think I do a fair job in French words. I mean, if I don't know how they are, that's one thing, but I don't want to mispronounce people's last names and stuff wrong. I mean, Pisili. I like Greek food. Does that help? Does that count? I do. We go somewhere new and we're like, oh, there's Greek food there. Let's go. We're into that. Even though I'm not a fan of lamb at all. Pisili. Don't be so pisili. Should I teach Mitch how to wear shoes first, or teach him how to say Pisili correctly? There's no hope for him. He only speaks one language and, not that good. Let's see if we can get the parts around the rocks here. So yeah, we're going to be doing Greek stuff for a while. I hate to break it to you. Hate to break it to you, but we're going to be doing Greek stuff for a while. I don't consider the I don't consider the Byzantines Greek. The Byzantines are kind of their own thing. I guess they're more Greek than Roman. I would consider them more Greek than Roman. Not to knock anything. I'm just, you know, I mean, they spoke Greek. They didn't speak Roman. But, you know, they're kind of their own thing. I mean, you know, like, we're going to be doing successor stuff, so. So, who is your favorite successor? Not counting Pyrrhus. And this guy also doesn't call it Epirus or Epirus. He calls it, I gotta write that down. Like, I've never seen this pronunciation before. It's like he went out of his way to be extra creative. And how do you say the D name in Greek? Is it Diadochi? Is it Diadochi? It's got to be key, right? The ending's got to be key. That's the problem. Is if you're gonna anglicize the names and you put letters in there, you kind of have to pronounce them. And if they anglicize the names and add a bunch of letters that actually don't get pronounced in Greek, it's not very useful for those of us that don't know that some of those letters, or a good proportion of those letters, are silent. There's a book on the conquistadors that I read. It's actually a really good book, but the guy he's not as bad as this guy with the Greek, but it's bad. He's bad how he bastardizes all the Spanish names, and it drives me up the wall because I know how to say them correctly. Pasili. Silliness. Anyway, so we are painting the army of... Oh, crap. I forgot what his name is. I haven't brought it up in so long. Romanos the Fourth. I forgot what his little nickname was. I gotta look that up. That's gonna drive me bananas. Like unison, the th from the word the, so it'd be doki. At the end you use an H instead of a K. Theodoki. The end use an H instead of a K. How did I do? Theodoki. Man, that's complicated. So I was talking about that yesterday. Everybody that was listening, we're all trying to figure out who our favorite successor was. And nobody really came up with an answer. You got to throw Pyrrhus out. Pyrrhus is after that period. Everybody would like him the best anyways. He's the coolest for sure. I think he's a very, very interesting character. despite getting hit on the head with a roof tile. That guy deserved better than that. He didn't deserve that. But, and so I've got to read through those books, and I got to put people in categories, like which guys were old school and didn't want to take a Persian wife or something like that. That's the guys I'd be in. I'd be on, that's who I'd want. I want the old school Greeks, you know. You say the first part great. In the end, instead of K, you need the H sound. Okay. Thea. Theathohe. 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 And the accent's on the second part. Theathohe. I'm going to have to start spelling it like that. Theathohe. Yeah, who's your favorite one? If you have one. There's a guy that did a video where he ranks them all. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting for, there's several of them I'd never heard of before. And they're minor players, you know, or they didn't make it very far. Theathohe. Theathohe. I'm going to go on some Greek guy's video and say, nope, you're saying those English things wrong. This is how you need to say it. Oh, man. I just wish they'd use the alphabet. And don't get me wrong, the Greek alphabet's cool looking, you know. But, you know, can't understand it. Can't understand it. Yeah, see, I have a kind of a thing for Egypt, so I have a thing for Ptolemies. Oh, so you like intermarrying? Everybody has a thing. I have a Ptolemaic army. I got it because it's I wanted him to look. I wanted the terrain underneath him to look desert-like, and nobody here had them. I don't really have a. I don't really have a preference. I guess that's a good thing. I am going to make a Pyrrhic army. I have all the troops for it. But he's well after the fact. Ptolemaeus. Well, he wasn't the inbreeder, just the people after him. I guess just people didn't know any better. You could have birth defects and stuff like that. All in the family. All right. We need to paint the edges black, and that pretty much has to, well, we've got to do the dry brushing on the other stuff first, so. Let's get the other colors that go out here, which is dark sand I've been using. Yep, there it is. And the other one is that ochre, yellow ochre color. Recently started playing Mortem et Gloriam and went with Imperial Romans. I would like to play that set of rules. I just don't want to learn how to play it on my own. It looks like it's got a lot of different ways to skin a cat. I like that. Imperial Romans. I don't like Imperial Romans. You know why I don't like Imperial Romans? They don't fight anybody who I think is particularly interesting. I think they fight the Parthians, but the Parthians are kind of an opposite type of army that the Romans are. And to me, the Romans are always Republic. And once they start getting into... I have an early Impy army to do. I have an early Impy army to do. Actually, I've got an Athenian army to do. I got 5 figures painted of my Athenian army. I freaking love the Athenian army. I mean, I do really well with them. I think I'm like 14-2 with them. My kind of army. I haven't done bad with the Thebans either. That's what I should do. I should do Oplites army. I like those guys. The good guys. Although the Persians aren't horrible overlords, but Greeks are still the good guys. I am play anyone against anyone. Yeah, just all those tournament games. I've just never played it. I've just never played it. And there's a way to play, what do they call it? Pacto? With just a few troops? That's what I would do. I would do Pacto. Because I would rather paint lots of different armies than a lot of troops for one army. But I know a guy not too far away that plays it, but I'd rather play more games that have a little bit less detail, because let's face it, this game could have more detail. But I'm kind of hooked on playing lots of games. And if something just goes sideways for you, you've seen our videos. We have some crazy, super exciting games, you know. Crazy, super exciting games. We enjoy the hell out of playing this stupid game, that's for sure. We certainly do. We just figured, well, we can't keep this to ourselves. We've got to show other people how much fun we're having. Regardless of how strange the rules are written, or organized, or what have you. See, which one of these dry brush brushes we want to use? Well, these have been abused. Yeah, I'm going to come across somebody that's watching this one time, and he's going to be pro-Persian, I'm sure. Well, sorry. I'm a child of my upbringing. I like all the spear elements. I'm a big fan of spear. A good solid number, and I don't mind spending pips to redress my lines. Diogenes, that's what his name is. Romanos the Fourth Diogenes. Poor guy that got captured. And then they let him go. And then he tried to get his throne back, and he didn't make it, and they put his eyes out, and they did such a bad job of putting his eyes out that he killed him. Not a good way to go. Such is the life of a Byzantine emperor. The only reason I got involved playing this game is somebody was playing it. Because I actually showed up to play Armati at that tournament, but then nobody played Armati. It was they supposedly had Armati games all the time, and the first day I decided to show up, the first convention I showed up, nobody played Armati anymore. It was a big brawl or whatever with the author or whatever. Let's try this one. It's a little bit smaller now. All right, so here's a question for you. What do you call that auxiliary infantry that the Greeks used? And I know it's not theruphiloi, something like that. How do you say that? How do you say that word correctly? Because that's a tongue twister. Pasili. I'm gonna write that down. As a matter of fact, we're gonna learn how to say these things correctly. Damn it! It's gonna be my little Greek guide down here. Oh, and I gotta write the other one too before I lose it. Theathohe. I'll spell it the same way you spelled it. Theathoha. poopy diaper. This always takes longer than you think it would, but you know, if you're not precise enough about it, there's no point in dry brushing all up and down the horse's legs, you know? Go through all that effort. And it's wasted. Three folks, welcome. 39 minutes already? Wow. Make sure I got the right setting on something. Oh. Why did it default to that? Okay. We need more of this. Yeah, I don't know why Phil Barker decided to call this troop type Pisili. I really don't. Because, like I said, I wouldn't want Chinese Pisili. It makes no sense. Especially when blade is kind of a generic term. I mean, auxilia is okay, even though it is a Roman. It's really for the Romans. But, you know, it's auxiliary. And that kind of goes for everything. That's a rural word, so. I don't know why he decided to do that. I would have just called them skirmishers. Maybe he just wanted them abbreviated PS. Kind of an afterthought. Postscript. I happen to love skirmishers. I like skirmishers because lots of people don't like them. They discount them, and I don't think I've lost too many battles because I got too many of them killed. But I've gotten victories because of them. So, big fan. Big fan of little guys that don't get appreciated. So we'll be doing 3 versions of these Byzantine lists. And I thought I was going to do the earlier one because at some point I need to do Belisarius. Because I have the Ostrogoths already that he fights. And everybody likes him. I don't like his boss. I think Justinian was a dick. Don't like him. I don't care how many good things he did. He's still a dick. Belisarius was way too good for him. Way too good. But trying to read kind of this short story, Life of Belisarius, but a lot of it is just made up, hokey conversations, and I couldn't swallow it. It was just too, like, I mean, it'd be great if it was accurate stuff, but, things just aren't known about people, This, that kind of stuff wasn't written for folks. And, it's kind of a historical type of novel type thing, but there wasn't a whole lot of value in it. Or maybe it is later on. I'm just, this early part. Maybe I should just skip ahead. Skip ahead to the Gothic Wars. Oh, it's probably going to have Nika stuff in it. There's just some things of his, just some Byzantine history I don't really care about. I don't care how important it was. I don't want to read about the Nika riots. I don't want to read about iconoclasm and all that stuff. Doesn't matter that it was really important. There's just some stuff I'm just not very interested in. I've heard it enough times already, and I've already got too much of a dose as it is. Smaller brush here and water this stuff down a little bit so we can get some of this color into areas where we need it to go into. Boy, everybody's quiet. That's what happened the other night. I couldn't get any traction from everybody, and I was falling asleep, and I ended up just, as soon as I disconnected, I just kind of painted without talking to anybody or trying to make up conversations, and I stayed awake finishing the guys, so I guess it kind of worked, but I just get bored just painting by myself. It's relaxing but boring. After you've done this for hundreds of thousands of hours, I don't even know how many hours I've ever painted, but probably better not to find out. Hey, at least I'm not wasting that time watching television or something like that. All right. Now for the dark sand on top. Tassos Sohos. Although it's probably in Greek, so it probably isn't that. Oh, it's difficult if you put letters there that aren't supposed to be pronounced. We don't know that. And then some people just don't care. I care because, I speak another language, and people say your last name wrong enough times, and then you kind of tune into that you don't want to do that. So Nordic, thought you could run a live evening event without me. Yep, I was wondering when you were going to show up, but you have a strange sleeping schedule, so I didn't know. But anyway, so I sealed these guys up, and then we gooped them, and it was record goop drying time. I think it was like 3.5 hours. I was able to mow a lawn, and then it rained right after I was done mowing, so I had to do the trimming, and I couldn't blow the... So it looks good but bad at the same time. I couldn't blow all the clippings. So, it looks like somebody did a shoddy job, but hopefully it'll dry out overnight, and I'll come out there and blow them in the morning. You'll be back in a few minutes. I need to get dinner in the oven. Don't fall asleep this time. No, I should be okay. I should be good for about another hour. Trust me, I don't want to fall asleep. I got stuff to do. Sleeping it's necessary, but it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. I got stuff to do. We got Greeks to paint. We have Pasili to paint. That's Saloy, by the way. Pasili. You were in the bathroom. I'm actually more on a normal sleeping pattern. I go to bed a lot earlier and wake up a lot earlier. That's better. I don't have no problem going to sleep at 9 p.m. and feeling good. I want to be up at 5 or 6 in the morning. I do. If I don't wake up early, I feel like I'm getting screwed. So unfortunately, I don't have any more Pasili to paint for this army. Because I do like those little guys. So we'll start working on the 8 bows in the morning. As I'm not doing another session after this one. I'm gonna go finish these guys up and go visit the mother. I haven't seen her in a little while. She just lives just down the road. Literally could walk there. How did he call him? What did this guy... Man, I should have written it down. I'm like doing yard work, and I'm like, you just called Agathocles what? Agathocles, I think is what he called it. I'm like, did you go out of your way to sound like an idiot? I mean, I knew how to pronounce that. I knew how to pronounce it Agathocles before I even did any ancients. Socrates. Something on the inside of this shirt that's eating me alive. Ah, there we go. Damn it. Nope. Alright. We'll have to hold on to that and use a scissor and get in there. John Hanna, welcome back. They're looking really good, even though they're Turks and Greek service. That's how hurting they are for money. They had to go work for the enemy. I guess I'd have trouble trusting mercenaries. I really would. I would have trouble. Yeah, and they look like crap in this video. We'll take pictures of them tonight. We'll put them on there on Facebook. They'll look all nice and stuff. I want to make these guys look proud, regardless of whether or not the best castings in the world, regardless of, whether you like Turks or not. It's irrelevant. You need to make them look good, My Ottoman Turks. I love my Ottoman Turk army. They don't fight worth a damn. I don't do well with them, but I still love them. Well, I love my army. Like I said, what's the worst thing in the world? The Ottoman Turks don't take over the world. Is that really that bad? Tony, laughing in Lepanto. You love using light cavalry, and they're great for flanking, getting in the rear. They are. They're good at everything except bowmen. They would just get raped by bowmen. Other than that, I don't have a problem with them. They fight heavy cavalry just fine. You only have 2 figures to paint. They're fun, Everything. I like everything. I just don't. There's some units I just don't have a lot of confidence in. Warband. I just don't have any. I don't hate Warband. I just don't have any confidence that if the victory relies on them doing their job, that there's any prospects for victory. That's all. Just an uphill battle for them. Doesn't mean I'm not going to paint any more Warband armies. On the contrary, I want to do a late Roman barbarian, not a morph. Morph makes it sound like I want to make a bunch of armies out of the same one, but I want to do the Franks. I got the Visigoths to do, which are some of my supposed ancestors. I don't know if that's my ancestors, but I'm going to claim them. I'm going to claim that they're some of my ancestors. They've been claimed, and so forth. So, Burgundians. I don't care if they're a crappy army. There's a big battle that was done at Historicon in 2007 or 2008. As a matter of fact, I think it was 7, where it was a huge table. And the table was like 10 by 12 or something like that. And it was a stylized, very stylized map of Western Europe. You had a big board like this, and over on one side there'd be like some trees that would represent like the Black Forest, but they were one area, and everybody played like a nation, but you played on the big map. So if you were playing the Burgundians, you had 12 stands of all the Burgundians, and you'd come in and get little plastic coins, which was a scoring system based on killing other units or burning and razing, looting things, and it was a really cool game, and I would love to put something on like that in the future, but you got to make some of these not so interesting armies look interesting, and in doing so, it's painting these, Huns, and I already got Ostrogoths, but Visigoths and Burgundians and Suebi and so forth, along with the later period Normans. Great against Mounted Knights. I think so too. I think Mounted Knights get themselves in a country. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the way Mounted Knights look. I love painting them. I'm a big fan of heraldry. Big fan. Huge fan of heraldry. But I don't like units that decide to advance when they don't want to. I'm a control freak, so I don't want them misbehaving on me. You look at Forge and Battle Miniatures, and they make some nice Italian city-states for the Etruscans, Samnites, and Oscans. They sure do. Their figures look beautiful. And the only reason I don't have any is they showed up to the party too late. And now I have too many hors d'oeuvres. They showed up to the party late and I have too many hors d'oeuvres and not enough visitors. All right, let's paint the edge of this guy's in black. We gotta let that sit a little bit. I like the lighter colored ground. It makes things pop nicely. Makes things pop nicely. And you can get them from the States, a place, I think they sell on eBay. Well, I know they sell on eBay, called, what is it? Something Knight. Noble Knight. And you don't have to get raped by their shipping charges. Because, you know, all the good toys come from the UK. I think so. It seems like everything I'm interested in. Oh, UK. So. That should be plenty. You showed up perfectly for me since I have no miniatures. I really want to go with the miniatures I think look the best. I think I will go with them. And that's exactly what I would do if I didn't have any. You know, absolutely. I think they look great. I really like them. You know, I'm split on some of the Greek stuff. I'm split between them and Zyston because Zyston stuff looks really good. They're totally not compatible. Zyston is some of the biggest figures, if not the biggest sized figures ever. And Forged in Battle are more like minifig size, I understand. I mean, I'd still make some because, you know, I'm a rebel like that, but most people wouldn't want them. Kurdistan and the States have nice figures. Yeah, but they're all over the place. Some of their horses are just like freaking stretch limos. They're really, really big. Really, really big. So they're a mixed bag because they don't all have the same sculptor. The shipping seems to be reasonable if you spend 100 British pounds to 20. Yeah, it is, but I don't spend 100 British pounds on something. That's a lot of. I mean, I don't need that much stuff. So, the most I've ever spent shipping is I ended up ordering from. They used to be called Donington. Actually, they might still be called Donington, but their website is weird. It's like suppliers of ancient medieval. I don't know. They have a really long, complicated name when they changed ownership, and they make a Ptolemaic elephant. So it's a forest elephant with a tower on it. And it's a very specific tower based on the Osprey books. That's what I wanted. And I went ahead and got a Seleucid elephant as well that they make. And the shipping was as much as the figures were. But hey, I painted the Seleucid the Ptolemaic elephant. I haven't done the Seleucid army because, well, Mitch showed up and he had all those successors, but I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do them as well. So first thing we're done with these guys, we're gonna do the we're gonna bring the Ptolemaic army to 3.0 levels, and then who knows where we'll go from there. I kind of want to do a because it's not a very good army, is a later Macedonian army. Philip V. They actually make a figure for Philip V. It's made by a company called QRF, who recently moved from one location in the UK to another location in the UK and They currently do not have those figures listed as available, but yeah, if somebody makes a custom leader for somebody, oh, you better believe that's what I'm going to use. You know, unless it's just totally inaccurate. But later Macedonian have no they have no knights. They have no impact mounted. No knights. They're considered cavalry. So you lose the punch of those guys. Sucks that all the great looking miniatures are made in the UK and we live in the USA. Yeah. Oh well. Look how many other things you buy. There's probably people in the UK are probably complaining, man, I wish GHQ was here in the UK. This prices are ripping me or killing me. It's not like I'm out of figures or anything. If I need something bad enough, I can afford the shipping. I just don't want to buy stuff and not do anything with it. That's the sin I want to avoid. Yeah, but UK is a land of toys. That's what I call it. All right, let's pick some weeds out. Now, if I did my homework, like I probably didn't, I left the ones that I use here handy, and it looks like I did. Those two. And light green. Hallelujah. All right, let's grab 4 of each. That's 2 tufts for each stand to start off with. Do you have any leftover ones? I bet I. No, I may not. I may have used them on the last one. All right, so let's grab 4 light greens. 1, 2. These are all basically the same size. There's a bigger one than smaller ones. Let's grab a 5th one. Let's live a little. These are Leadbear Tufts from Australia. And I think he makes them himself. Those are the stickiest ones they make. I probably don't even have to glue these things down. That's how sticky they are. Then we've got some Happy Meadow flowers from Army Painter. Let's get 2 fat ones, a small one, and a medium. Okay. Happy little flowers. What are you gonna do with the flowers? I'm gonna bleed on them. That's what I'm gonna do. And then we've got some of these. Let's do that one because it's loose. Jesus, this one's long. It's like a freaking centipede. That's way too long. We'll have to cut that in half. You know what? We'll do that. We'll cut that one in half. It's like somebody's eyebrow. It's a Oompa Loompa eyebrow. You have green eyebrows, right? That should do, I think. Made in Portugal. The land of cork. Aussie Tufts, yeah. Australian Greg sent those to me for my birthday last year. Very nice of him. He sent me 4 packs, and I'm working them in my stands. So he's got some dry ones that we'll use for step armies. Or actually, I'm probably going to take my Ptolemaics and I'm probably going to put some dry grass on them because they're barren. They're desert color but barren. So I'm probably going to use that on them. Museum have new pike blocks for Macedonian periods and companion cavalry. 3 different packs with 4 different poses each pack. Really? Is that the Z range stuff? Let's see. We need the edges of the stands to dry anyways. Let's see. Let's look at museum miniatures. And they ship quicker than anybody. Essex is damn near the fastest one. My experience with museum is they're the fastest one. Consistently. New releases, Z range, all right? There's a Seleucid elephant. You got that cross thing on. Thing on the elephant. That's definitely Seleucid. Persians, Thracian, Peltas. Okay. I'm looking in the wrong place. Price 128. Why aren't these listed in a reasonable fashion? Or where I could select view all. Ah, crapsicle. There we go. Persian Immortals. Enough of the Persians. I came here for Macedonians, damn it. Though honestly, a Persian army is more my style. But, ooh, nice camels. New Javelin Men. There you go. The jokes just write themselves. You know, you can get away with a 70-degree pikeman. 60, you're asking to not be able to mesh. Oh, there's a heavy pikeman. I like the way the 45-degree ones work. It's just not practical. What's this guy look like? Ah, he looks cool. 8 random helmets, but you don't show me all the helmets, do you? No, yeah, you do. Crap, we may have to get some. Man, that blade looks big. All right. Cool, thanks for the heads up. I wouldn't have thought that they were doing that. Does DBA have separate Italian city-state armies for the Etruscans and the Samnites? Absolutely. Absolutely. They certainly do. They have Apulians, Campanians. What's the third one? Apulians, Campanians, Oscans. I believe they have an Oscan list. Oscan the Grouch. All right, let's cut this. Let's cut these big old things down to smaller old things. And turn this into 2. All right. Turn this into 2. These are pretty big, but there's a lot of empty space on here. All right. Let's do the Australian toughs first. Elmer's, as you guys call it. PVA, which I don't use for anything other than this. I do not hold it in high regard, unlike the Terrain Tutor. Am I available Monday? Probably. I'm probably going to be available Monday. We will see. If there's too many of us showing up, though, I'm not going to play on video. So I think that happened to us a couple of weeks ago, and we solved that. If like 5 people show up, the people that travel get to play. You guys will be on video. We just won't be. It's either that or you don't video the thing, and who the hell wants to see that? Well, nobody would see it. I want to see the video that nobody will see. What? All right, green. Let's get some of these light green colors. Let's put a happy little clump over here. The only thing I don't like about this new basing material as opposed to the old one is that you can't push the tufts into it. It's more, it doesn't have as much give. Not a big reason, but I think that the relief on it is a lot better. It's more to scale. And we're going to put another happy green tuft over here. We'll cover up this. Only reason I wouldn't be there on Monday is if something happens and I don't feel well. I'm not saying that could happen, but I plan on making it. I couldn't make it the last one. It was a freak accident that fortunately does not happen very often, but we had a unexpected death of a close friend of the family member, and my wife needed to help her out with some stuff. And so I was on babysitting duty. I did not want to leave my daughter here, even though she's 17. She doesn't like being here alone by herself, and I don't need to game that badly, you know. That's the only reason I didn't make it the last one. But technically, this time of the year, it's pretty well. It's not necessarily this time of the year. It just happens to be right now. We're kind of on the slow end. It's really frustrating because we got a lot of stuff to do at work. It's just not, people aren't taking things like they should. So it's all going to explode when, you know, I'm trying to leave for Historicon or some bullshit like that. I've seen it happen a million times, so it's going to be a shitstorm. As always. All right, let's just finish one and worry about the other one later. All right, we got some flowering plants. Let's put a big flowering bush back over here. Let's put it back here. A big fat one. Poppy bush. Can you get high on one of those? No clue. What did I miss? Jumbo's the plan. That's what you wanted to do. That's what you wanted to do. Dried some moss out, put it on bases, takes paint well, dries good. Got a friend who has using coffee granules that once dried and sterilized makes great gravel on bases. And it doesn't stain? I would think that would stain like crazy. Yeah, we'll do an elephant thing tomorrow. We want to do 2 elephants minimum. And you could decide to do blind or not. I'm not such in love with blind as, you know, blind is wonderful because you roll the 1 for pips and it's not painful, but you know, either way, I can go either way on it, whatever. But yeah, a couple elephants in each army. Got an army I want to try out. Use bark for large rocks. It looks great. The bark looks great. I've got some stuff that I got some terrain pieces that I picked up at a show that somebody had made using bark, and I think he did a great job with them. I was really happy with how they turned out. Let's use a smaller one there. Yeah, we don't play with elephants enough. And it's not that there's some super weapon, but they create some super interesting things that happen because of their unpredictability. So they really are a hoot. Weird things happen all the time when they show up. Really weird stuff. So from that aspect, they are neat. But I don't think there's some kind of super weapon. You know, if there were only one pip to move, yeah, maybe, but not with two. That may be enough for him. But they're cute to paint. I mean, there's no denying that. As a World War II game, right? Only elephants I got to paint were, you know, from Kursk on. And the early ones have no machine gun in the front hull. Let's put an Australian tuft up here. Sticky Joker. Where's the other bright one on here? It's back here in the back. Let's put this one up in the front. Let's put it right there by the horse's legs. Two jumbos and blind deployment, but not bling. You mean no pips. Blind deployment. Okay, well, you got to tell us how you want to do that, because I have no idea how you want to do that. You got a board to put between things? That'd be cool. An elephant partition. Let's put a. I got a third one. Let's put a third. Let's put a third bright Australian one here. Let's not put it in a big space because I got some big tufts that I'd like to fill up some of this stuff on here. So let's well, let's not be symmetrical. Let's put it over here next to this other one. You sticky Boston. Man. Insolent tuft. I gotta find a movie to watch with my mom this evening. I don't know what we're gonna watch. Something action. Should make her watch The Duelist. Enough of you guys talked about it that it was good. I just don't think I think it just bore her. Okay. Right. Flowering plants. Let's put a flowering. This is a huge area up here. How would this look here? Like it's happy. Okay. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. We don't have to put 2 flowering plants on each one. As a matter of fact, I'm leaning towards not doing that on this one, just for variety. We have a huge open area there. So how about one of these caterpillars right there in the middle of it? And how about a small one there. You've done it before using a wrist board. I think Mitch has enough boards there that we can do it. Sorry, cat jumped in my nap. Not blind general. Okay, perfect. You're having Forged in Battle Arthurian 4. I haven't seen it. I really like terrain in 6mm for DBA. I really do. Because then you could, you know, like you could make a village and use a lot more little buildings, you know. I really like the way it looks. Because then then you can only use a couple buildings if you do them in the right scale. Get a couple miners across. Go with The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio. Is it good? Okay, I'll watch that. I'm sure she hasn't seen it. I like Leonardo. I think he's good. The Revenant. Okay. Good. I've been wanting to see that one. Odds are, if somebody won't like it, it's me. I'm the one that's critical about movies and falls asleep in them, too, so. Does it need anything? I don't think so. I want enough empty space, because these guys will get reused. We'll just move them over here, and they'll be ones I don't have to pick for the next one. So, let's go get the gang. The gang of 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The gang of 7. And that's going to be the gang of 9. Let's move this stuff out of the way. Throw that in the rinse. So here is the Byzantine project so far. And now we will have 2 stands of Turks along with them. And Marty, here's the 2 cumin guys. So, cumins and I used caps of my asthma inhalers and painted them up to make great yurts for camp. Yurt. Come get your yurt. So this is where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's got to be more than 12 elements. We have an 8 bow to do. We have a command post and 4 cavalry at least, and probably a commander. And the commander will be the same guy that gets used in the Komnenen list. So, yeah. We'll take a picture of them right here. They're just who knows what it looks like on film. So, anyhow, how long have we been on here? Now in 29 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up. And thanks guys for stopping by. and we will pick up with the 8 bow stand in the morning. That's what we're going to do, and it's going to take a while, but they'll be all uniform, so all the spearmen will look the same and all the bowmen behind them will look the same, unless the bowmen are in front of them, which is possible. We'll figure that out when we get there. But until next time, thanks folks for stopping by, and